Oof. If you are saying anything, I cannot hear you. Oof, that was a good one. Sorry about that. Yeah, it was juicy, wasn't it? I was drinking juice. I still can't hear you, buddy. Whatever issues we had before are happening again. How did we do this last time? Because I can't hear you and yeah, I know you called. I answered and
There, I can hear you now.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
Now the question is well, I mean, you should have been able to hear me, but, like, can you hear me on my stream? That's the question.
Yeah, the way I record it is Discord.
Oh yeah, I think I know what I gotta do. I gotta mute you on Discord. How do I mute? I think it's in the settings. I'm such a fogey.
Right, click on face. Oh, well, sorry, that's on the PC.
There we go. Now try talking again.
Oh, well.
Okay, that's better. I have to hold my thumb on your picture.
Yeah, it's funny because I was like right click on that works, but
Alrighty. So, another Babbling Bids video. Well, yeah. It's a podcast.
Yeah, fine.
I'm going to be running around Eureka, leveling up.
Eureka.
Yeah, it's in Final Fantasy 14. I got some monsters and baddies to kill for my weeklies to level up, and
cool.
I gotta level up anyways to get further in the story. What do you got?
Playing Nobody Saves the World.
Ah, interesting.
He's adorable.
So,
anyway.
I was going up with current events for our channels. I was watching you playing your Doom game, and I'm like, the same problems I have with the rocket launcher.
Yeah, face tank in the wall with it.
Yeah, I remember doing the same thing on the 2016 and Eternal versions. I know I had one time when a monster hopped up onto the ledge right as I fired a rocket and it blew both of us up. I was like, that's just timing on the AI's part. So, our topic today. So that is, what was it, butt better?
Yeah, but better. I like it. It's kind of like oh shoot, what did I call those stories before?
The Elseworlds? I don't know.
Because I named the type of story. It's like when you and your friends are sitting around, but wait. It's but wait stories.
But wait, there's more?
It's like when you start saying something and then somebody adds something into it with like, oh yeah, but wait, or but like this happened, or stuff like that.
Ah.
That's what I was thinking about with but better. But in this case, we're referring to. Now you had an idea for like a Pokemon but better, and I had
Yeah.
an idea.
What was your idea?
I had an idea for an Assassin's Creed but better, but I'm not really sure if it would really count as a whole game of but better, but just like an idea of something you could do with it.
Huh.
And then, of course, we wanted to talk about the like certain little mechanics and stuff that you can add to get better. So, hence the but better.
Well, for me, I've kind of fallen out on Pokemon due to the fact that, you know, the recent games, it's kind of following the Pokemon Go theme where you're not really fighting the Pokemon in the wild, you're just tossing Pokeballs at them until you capture them. Kind of thing. Is what I've noticed. I don't know about the most recent ones, but I know like the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee remakes.
Yes.
And then
after that, they did that.
Say what?
After that, they did better.
Yeah, but Arceus as well was kind of the same thing. And I'm
Never played that.
Arceus is okay because it's open world, like good open world, but it. They, like I said, they do the same thing where like you just toss Pokeballs at it and it either runs away or like wait no, actually you can fight them. I don't remember. I haven't played Arceus in a while. But the other thing that bothers me is the fact that they are gating a lot of the Pokedex, and a lot of the ones that they gated are my favorite ones. And I'm just like, I miss my buddies. Like, part of the nostalgia about Pokemon was taking your Pokemon from the previous games and carrying them over. Or, like, refriending your favorites, you know? And they kind of took that away. And so I lost my attention to it. If they could just bring that back, that'd be nice. I want my Blaziken back.
The fire chicken.
What's up? Yeah, fire chicken. Fire punchy chicken.
I've always been particularly a fan of the fire types. That's my type if I was a gym leader.
I don't technically have a type. I like Pokemon that have a wide range of skills in their skill pool. I don't like it when it's like, let's say for instance Flareon. Flareon's got like normal fire type attacks and that's about it. You can't really mix it up. Whereas with Blaziken, I've got a bunch of moves where I can be like, so you're gonna use a psychic type to beat up my fighting type? Alright, well I'm gonna go ahead and use like Shadow Claw or something and just ghost type your ass and just like, oh, out of nowhere, there's the wipe.
Oh, you thought this fire type was very easy, but no, he actually knows water.
Yeah. There's quite a few of them where I was like, yay, these look awesome ones. They look awesome. I like their motif, but then their skill pool, I look at it and their stats, and I'm just like, oh man, I have no place for them in my roster.
Just like the games.
Huh?
It's like the games made you not want to ever evolve to a Raichu because he stops learning anything.
Plus, Raichu looks kind of doofy.
Yeah, big old chunky rat.
Yeah. But for my idea for a nice Pokemon thing, we could also do a kind of like history lesson. Instead of it being kind of like these off-the-wall randos, for the most part, just have it like in each region, the folklore. So like the Sphinxes, Phoenix, all that other stuff, Gorgons. I know some of the Pokemon are kind of based off of those in a way anyways. But it'd be kind of cool, and like each game could be a different region kind of thing, and that region focuses on those types of like folklore creatures. I thought it was going to be a pretty interesting setup, in my opinion. Because I'm a big history, not history, but mythology fan. So what's your take on that?
And we do like the cryptids too, like
What'd you say?
And we like cryptids too. So it's like if you're looking at like say, the world that we know, the Earth, as it were.
Yeah.
And you could be like the various different sections where you're not just capturing folklore characters, but also cryptids and stuff.
Yeah, like creepypastas and all of the jazz. Like the Jersey Devil and stuff like that. Or like your favorite, La Llorona.
Not La Llorona, Yola. It's Spanish.
Yeah. Because so for La Llorona, it'd be like that type of motif, like a Hispanic motif area.
I mean, that just comes up straight from where I'm from, too. Yeah. Down south.
I know it would be limited because, there's only so many regions for folklore, but at the same time, it would still offer not just fun and entertainment, but also, learning. Like, you could learn other cultures through the video game. So, some parents wouldn't have, as much of an issue, potentially.
It's a learning game.
Yeah, you could market it as a learning game.
I'm capturing the ghost of an abused woman to fight other ghosts and monsters for learning purposes.
Yeah. It's just for learning. Oh, I probably should be setting my elemental type so that way I can smack you down faster. I'm not paying attention.
I love that.
People are probably watching me in the future and going, why are you hitting like a wet paper bag? Because my elemental affinity is not set correctly. Now I'm smacking them hard. There we go. Rip and tear. So what would be your take on my idea?
Well, you can't just have it like Pokemon stuff like that. Although it would definitely, in my opinion, it would be a pretty cool idea. Have to come up with a good lore behind it, like you're part of an organization that's about to either rid the world of said things or,
I think it'd kind of be like an SCP thing where you're just trying to contain them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And instead of Pokeballs, it could be like a stone tablet or something, or some type of effigy. To pretty much keep them housed.
SCP actually has a counter, not counter authority. There's a group countering the SCP where they're trying to weaponize the SCP too. So that could be your Team Rocket as well.
Pretty much. Yeah, I watched a few people play SCP famously, so I know a little bit of the storyline. Not a lot of it, because I didn't really super delve into it. Mainly for the fact that I don't have the game downloaded, so...
Honestly, man, just think about, the thing with SCP version, like Pokemon, just like that. Except, of course, Control kind of exists, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, thinking about,
could be the world, the reality, the fabric of reality is falling apart because of all these mythological entities are released. You gotta return them back. Actually, no, now I think about it, it could be you can carry tomes. Like an actual book, and the pages are blank, and as you capture them, they go on a page.
And it fills out the information. Kind of like the Pokédex, except that's your story. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a 2-in-1 kind of thing. You have the information on it. Excuse me, had some tickle in my throat. But you have that, and then you also have the ability to like a rune or something where you can summon them back out to use them for combat.
Because obviously you have to be able to just run up to like a Bigfoot and say, "Get in my book, yo."
Yeah.
Because he's probably not that to do it.
Yeah, you gotta be able to weaken them down to contain them.
So your cryptid is battling it while you're sitting there chanting the spells and whatnot to get it to hop in the book.
If you get interrupted, kind of thing. Ooh. See, this is what I like about doing the little podcast. I like to be able to springboard ideas off of you. We have a good synergy.
It's always good to be able to have a sounding board. Like, even with my writing, I don't have a sounding board for it, because it just adds a layer of stuff. So I know at least one person likes what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right. At least one person.
I just got a scammer trying to text me.
A scammer? Oh, yeah. Gotta love those, huh?
Hi, are you home now? Yeah, Bruce. This is Hannah. Are you my friend Ella? Ooh-ee, sorry. Nope, sorry. Sorry, I think I have dialed the wrong number. Your number is very similar to Ella's. I hope I didn't bother you. Stop lying and trying to scam people. You're evil. No response.
That's hilarious.
They don't like it when you call them out. I think, like, you obviously have to be the good people, otherwise, people would complain, but at the same time, you could find out your organization's actually evil too, and you're like...
Yeah, and you have to break off from it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Got it? Which is... Isn't that kind of like one of the storylines for Assassin's Creed, your idea? Isn't it, like, the organization have some evil people or whatever?
Yeah. I mean, heck, the original Assassin's Creed was basically that. The head assassin dude wasn't actually as good as he pretended to be.
I don't know too much of the lore in Assassin's Creed due to the fact that for some weird reason the game just never appealed to me. The genre. I guess it got too popular too fast. I have a weird thing with anime, games, TV, stuff like that, movies. If it's like super mainstream too quickly, like it just explodes for some weird reason, I don't have a drive to actually want to participate in it. So it's like, was it like Attack on Titan I was like meh about, and then like One Piece I'm meh about, and then they got like the Assassin's Creed, of course, and it's like ugh, kind of thing. Even though I think I would love it because I love sneaking around and I love being like the assassin type, but it's just weird. I never got the drive, and eventually when it came out, I was like, ugh, I don't even want to waste my money on it.
Actually, funny enough, that's kind of what my thing was. I was thinking about was Assassin's Creed but better. Because I was thinking that one of the that one got popular and then fell off hard towards the end. Like, people just really were not happy with it anymore. And I was trying to think about what could have saved it. Honestly, they made a lot of weird decisions, in my opinion, for the series. Like getting rid of one of the main character in the third game. They just get rid of him. and I was trying to think about it. It's like, one of the main draws was like what you were saying, that the playing the assassin.
Yeah.
So, you as the assassin, sneaking around doing these missions, and I'm like, honestly, that was the main draw for a lot of people, was doing these really cool stealth missions. And I was thinking, if they took away the open worldness to it, which admittedly was a few people's favorite things about it, was exploring these ancient cities as an assassin. But if you took away that and just put it as linear story missions where, like, this is your target, this is where he is, and now this is the part of the city where you have to sneak around and fight him. And then that basically just opens up the whole, like, different paths that you could take to get to the assassination. instead of what they did with the series, which was basically turn it to a reskin hack and slash.
Yeah.
After Ezio Auditore da Firenze, after his story arc, it basically just became, you know, even I don't want to say all of his were particularly not hack and slash, because I'm pretty sure one of them was, but they got away from the idea of assassin and just became the idea of, like I said, hack and slash.
Yeah.
And that, in my opinion, killed a lot of people's love for the idea of Assassin's Creed.
Well, dang.
Because, like, at Black Flag, everyone's favorite. And even
because you get to be a pirate.
Yeah. You weren't an assassin in that one. And it was a lot of fun, which really makes me look at their Skull and Bones game and be wondering how they messed that up so badly. Because they had the archetype right there. They just ignored it.
Because they wanted it to be different. They didn't want it to be people to be like, oh, this is just a clone of Black Flag.
Yeah.
That's the main reason.
Yeah. That was probably the worst idea. Silly Ubisoft. Stupidness. I'm not happy with Ubisoft.
I could tell. Well, for me, I had an idea when you told me, like, what your but better was, like, for Assassin's Creed. You didn't exactly tell me what it was about, but immediately in my head, I don't know why, I have, like, this learning motif kind of thing for games. But it's like, instead of it being, like, the way they have it, it can have it where you're, like, going through history and you're actually committing the assassinations of history, like Lincoln and... But I thought that could be kind of controversial.
Yeah, that might ruffle a few feathers, but it's fine.
Could you imagine, like, doing, what was it, Franz Ferdinand for World War I and stuff like that?
Yeah, kicking off the World War. That'd be fun.
And then you could do, like, the failed attempts on, like, Hitler or whatnot.
Yeah.
Then you run into the problems of history not being recorded correctly due to the victors rewriting history kind of thing.
Then you find out, like, oh, well, I've been being used. The trope of assassins. I've been being used.
What was your idea, though, for Assassin's Creed but better?
Basically remove the open world, which was something a lot of people complained about. Focus solely on the assassinations. And, you know, turn it into what it is, an assassin game.
You know, there's a kind of a game like that already. It's called Dishonored.
Oh, yeah. Except in that case, you know, you actually have a different story. Not so much the assassin, you just do an assassin.
You can be the assassin in Dishonored. It just means you get the bad ending.
Yeah. All the rats come take everything. Let me play the second.
The funny thing is, I haven't played it yet. I own it. I own all of them, I think. I think I even have Death of the Outsider. But I want to do those on the channel. Unfortunately, I don't have time to actually commit to playing stuff like that right now. So that's part of the reason why I'm just doing these live streams and stuff. It's just, this is all I have the time for right now, folks. I would love to get back to my, like, storybook games and my actual story stuff, but it's the best I can do right now.
Best I can do.
With the time that I'm given.
It limits us all with what we actually want to do.
I was actually kind of sad when you said, though, on your Doom video that you were thinking about just, like, not finishing Doom and Doom 2 and just going straight to Doom 3. I'm like, no, I want you to play through all of them because I actually get entertained by you trying to bite and chew through the levels.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, as long as, because I'm basically doing it for you. So, yeah, if you want to see all the three of them, I'll do all three of them.
I appreciate it. I would absolutely love you to run through those.
Definitely fun. It's just, I'm not sure how good my commentary has been on it. Like, I've definitely.
It's fine. It's fine. I mean, my commentary isn't exactly, you know, glowing either. Yours is way better than mine. At least you can think to crack jokes. Me, it's just like, unless something glaringly obvious pops up as like a joke, I usually don't crack a joke. I get too serious.
There's definitely a market for that.
I have a lot of room for improvement. I get too focused on the game. There are a few moments though, like Resi 2 with the two zombies spawning on each other.
Mm-hmm.
That one was hilarious. I had to keep that. And then the other moments, like my older video when I played The Evil Within a little bit, and I didn't know that the big doggo will toss the explodey darts back at you, and that completely surprised the hell out of me. I was like, yeah, explodey darts. Let's go use these. I got maxed out for a reason, just so I could take them out with that. And the first one I shot, I'm like, is there a glitch? And then all of a sudden, just bites it out of his hide and tosses it right back at me and freaks me the hell out.
Of course, you know, when you stuck into that one guy and he came charging right at you.
Yeah, that was just me trying to be hasty and try to. I was trying to stagger him before he ran at me, and as soon as I fired it, I knew in my head like that was a bad idea. It's like I made a mistake. I knew exactly as soon as I fired it, and I was like, yeah, he's already running towards me. This is not good.
I'm in danger.
Yeah. I'm in danger. Definitely in danger on that one. That playthrough. Oh my god. I bit off way more than I could chew on that one. Trying to do the no upgrade challenge while clearing it.
Play those on my channel too.
I kind of want to do it still. Like, I eventually want to get to it. But I just don't think I'd be able to play it on normal and do the no upgrade challenge and complete it. Just because of the RNG in that game.
Right.
Like, you can't just be I'm bad at aiming as it is. And then to top it off, I have a percentage, even if I do land that perfect shot, that it misses. Yeah. That's the reason why I was out of ammo so many times. It's like, even if I had them in my crosshairs dead to rights, they'd still miss. And I'm like, oh, damn you, you're supposed to be a detective. You're supposed to be good at this.
It's one of those weird things in some games that I always think is really weird. It's like, oh, this guy's a trained soldier.
Yeah.
How is he missing so much?
Right. How come he can only run for not even a 3-second burst?
Yeah, stamina gauge is top.
Yeah. I think the other thing for But Better though, is instead of them starting off at like, I don't know what it is about these, about the game devs with the recent remakes, starting with the number 2 of the series. Resi 2, they're doing Silent Hill 2, and I think there was another game that they started with 2 that they're working on, and I'm like, why? You have other games before that. Start it from the beginning and like make the continuity fit.
They're talking about not doing
You said what?
They didn't do Code Veronica, but they jumped right to 4.
No, I think they are going to do Code Veronica because they did a poll, and I think people exploded with Code Veronica. I think it was like I think it was a split between 4 and Veronica. So I think they are working on it. They're just not actively saying they're working on it right now. At least that's my theory. And but it's just, I'm talking about 0 and 1. Like, yes, they quote unquote remade 1 for the GameCube, but I'm like, you still had the fixed camera angles, so technically it wasn't a full remake.
I mean, that'd be a full on, what do you call it?
That's a remaster.
Do a butt better for Resident Evil 1. Would just be to make it in the style of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, that's all I really want. Because the thing...
Yeah, I think...
Okay, now it works again. Dang it. That was annoying. Sorry about that blue screen for a bit. What'd you say?
Wouldn't be our streams without some sort of a technical issue.
Yeah, I think my PS4 is going.
I can't afford a new PS4 for you.
But it's just like, as I was saying, the reason why I didn't even touch like Code Veronica, I didn't touch 0 or 1 or the original 2 and 3, is due to the fact that the fixed camera angles and the tank controls, those are artificial ways of committing to anxiety for the player. It's just, for me, it's not even really anxiety inducing, it's aggravating.
I think the people who say they like it are just, they're like Stockholm.
They're what?
The people who say they like it are just afflicted with Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. It took such good care of me while it was torturing me. I love it. I can change it, Mom.
Yeah, it's just, for me, it's annoying. I wish that they had,
in 5, when I accidentally switched it on again, it's like, oh no. Stuff like this.
This is part of the reason why I want like 0 and 1 back, because I actually like the story and I would love to play through it. I don't want to commit myself to suffering through the way the game's set up currently.
Yeah, I do kind of miss the old style version of Resident Evil, like when it was more survival horror. But I think they did a
exactly.
good job.
I would keep it that way. Just put the third person over the shoulder, or even first person, and then stop with the fixed camera and the tank controls. It's the only. It's like, if I want to play a scary game, I want to play a scary game because it's scary, not because it's aggravating. Like, that's another reason why I kind of stopped playing The Evil Within, is because it's aggravating. Now, of course, the aggravation was due to my own, like, stubbornness to try and combine things, but still, it's just tossing in those little tweaks. Like, they expect people playing that game to be perfect aims, so they're like, oh, let's put the RNG in there, so that way, the only way you can truly be accurate is if you boost the guns up. It's just, and I still don't even understand why a lot of people that I watched play Resi 3, a lot of people hated the initial handgun you got, even though, like, the game got a lot of hate. as it was total. But a lot of people were like, man, this handgun sucks. And I'm like, this handgun was way better than the Samurai Edge from 2.
Samurai Edge and 2 is...
Huh?
The Samurai Edge and 2
Yeah, the Samurai Edges didn't even do anything. They just looked better. They supposedly had better stuff, but it's not like it actually showed, at least to me. Still couldn't pop heads like left and right. I don't know. I get ranty with those. Too easy. I'm just hoping that Silent Hill, they do it justice kind of thing instead of making it worse. I hope it's just not a cash grab, you know.
Yeah. Have you played the? I forgot what it's called, but the little short game that they put out.
No. I haven't touched a single thing of Silent Hill. Kind of the same reason why I don't play the old Resi games, because I think the game isn't the gameplay fixed camera on that one too.
No, it's first person.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I'm gonna put it out. I'm gonna put out the video pretty soon. But I played it, recorded it, about 3 hours long. It felt like a Behold. It did not feel like something that came out of a AAA studio. Even the I guess nowadays it would feel more like what a AAA studio would feel like. But yeah, it was not something I would expect from the maker of Silent Hill. It was. I got mad while playing it because of the story and the undertones of it were childish in their mentality, and made me really dislike the main character. Which, to their credit, they weren't trying to make you like the main character.
Uh-huh.
If you get to the end of it, you realize they didn't want to like this person.
Well, aren't most of the characters in Silent Hill not supposed to be likable anyways? Because they're their own, like, they're like actually bad people, and they kind of deserve what they're getting.
Yeah.
Except for like a few of them, like wasn't it like Silent Hill 3 or whatever. The poor girl wasn't actually like deserving of what she got.
Well, but that in of itself is an acceptable thing, because at least for a little while you kind of like connect with the characters and whatnot. But like from the get-go, I felt no connection with the character. She was whiny, complaining, and I just wanted to shut up most of the time. The sad part is she reminded me of me when I was younger, and I was doing a whole lot of the woe is me stuff. And that was part of the biggest thing that pushed me away from the character itself. It's I just wanted to stop talking, stop complaining about her life was so hard. And how she was just so jealous of her friend liking another person.
See, another thing that could be a bit better that I'm kind of thinking about now in retrospect. Last of Us Part 2. I think part of it that rubbed me the wrong way was the fact that they tried to force feed Abby to you, in my opinion. It would have been better if you could choose the scenario. Of course, it would kind of fuck the immersion up a little bit. Like, oh, it gives away, spoiler, this character is like a pivotal character. It's not going to be someone who's going to just die off. But still, at the same time, having them as separate scenarios, kind of like a Resident Evil game, where you got to choose between like Chris or Claire, or I mean Chris or Jill, Claire or Leon kind of thing. It would have been nice because you would have been able to see the juxtaposition in that gameplay, and it wouldn't have messed with the continuity, like the flow of the game, as much. Because when all that stuff hit the fan, like especially after like, you know, the early death and everything, and the whole revenge ploy, and then once you get through those 3 days, and then you know repeat, and then you're back to day one, and it's like I sat there and I was like, huh, no, don't tell me kind of thing. Now I gotta do this? And it's just like a lot of that part, like as soon as that happened, I kind of like fell out of wanting to play it. I was kind of just sitting there just because I'm like, okay, how is the story gonna end, kind of thing. And it's just like when I got to her part, I was pretty much just like, let's just hurry this through. Why am I increasing her stats? Why am I building her up? And I'm like, ugh, kind of thing.
I actually had a pretty good butt better for Resident Evil, not for The Last of Us 2.
For what?
I had a pretty good butt better for The Last of Us 2.
What was the butt better?
Instead of it being The Last of Us 2, it's The Last of Us 3. And my biggest complaint with that was not even so much the fact that they shoved Abby in your face.
Yeah.
And they're like, haha, she killed your dude, now you have to feel all bad about it, and now you have to get to the end of the game. I had no connection to her prior to the game. And it's like, coming into it, it's like, oh, now they're going to try to make you feel like she's a person by giving you this backstory. I'm thinking, if they'd have done her story with her and her father leading up to the point where they get to the hospital and her dad dies, if that would have been part 2, and you connected with her and her dad, then there might have actually been an emotional like connection to like, oh, okay,
exactly.
So
You're
this
right.
really is just a messed up situation.
Yeah.
And then The Last of Us 2 was actually The Last of Us 3, and then you're like, then you're actually having conflicted emotions as you're going through the game because you connected with both characters, and now you get to see them be stupid and the whole revenge corrupting their whole life in it.
Yeah. I completely agree with you on that one. It's just the whole Abby thing. I'm just like, the only saving grace with Abby was the whole Lev thing. That was the only saving thing. The only reason why I was like, Abby needs to stay alive is because Lev would die without her, kind of thing, for the most part. Lev's too naive in order to live in the world by himself, or themselves. And I'm just like, and I like the character of Lev and Yara. It's just the way they were introduced. I'm just like, ugh, kind of thing.
Always my biggest issue with it. Like,
What
they tried to make you care about her afterwards.
Yeah,
like,
it was basically artifice. Oh, we make a character you actually like and tag that person onto her, so that way you're forced to also like her by like proxy.
Right. You have to like her because now if you don't, Lev is gonna die.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I was like, I didn't expect my little that.
That's part of the reason why when I played through, there was times where Abby died, and I would just laugh and I'd repeat it and repeat it.
I got a good kill on that one.
I was like, game over. Wrap it up, boys. Let's go home. Game's done. Abby's dead. Joel's been avenged, kind of thing.
They handled that one wrong. It could have been so much better.
Yeah. I think it should have been a scenario thing. Like, gamers know, like, some games can be, like, we know that format, most gamers, like the scenario setup, like A and B kind of thing. And I don't know why they just didn't try to do that.
Right.
It's not like it's copyrighted or, like, you know...
Because you can't copyright an idea like that.
It's what?
You can't copyright a game like you can.
Yeah, right? And it would have made it more palatable. Like, it would have actually made it so that, like, okay, we understand this kind of thing. Also, your idea of a 1.5 kind of dealio would have been nice as well. At least give a little bit of backstory instead of just giving those piddly little flashbacks after the fact. 'Cause then it's like, no, this doesn't work this way. You cannot make me hate a person and then be like, oh, well, this is the reason why they're the way they are. And I'm like, no. especially after you already have a preset connection with the people that were wronged. It can't really fix that. It has to be like established in equal parts. It's like unfairly uneven emotions. So of course you're gonna lean heavily towards one instead of the other.
You're always gonna like friggin' Ellie more because she was bred longer.
Unfortunately, most of my fan theories on the game were were wrong. Let's see, what were my fan theories? One of my fan theory is that she was technically not immune. Like the cordyceps had mutated inside of her, like it actually did, but instead of her being immune, it was just a slow descent. And then she just didn't know she was going nuts, and she sees like infected around her when it's actually people, kind of thing, and she just goes on a rampage. And like, or like Joel is dead, but like that was the only thing I got right was Joel's dead. But it's like instead of him not being there in the game at all, like he's there as like a hallucination kind of thing, egging her on. And it's just like. That's what I was thinking about. I had a few others. I have to look it over. I think I have a video somewhere. It might have been at the end of the part 1 or something. I would have loved to have gotten at least something right on the fan theory. Sometimes it's weird with people posting fan theories and creepypastas and stuff for games. It's like sometimes a lot of the fan-made stuff is better than the actual content.
Yeah.
And it kind of hurts when you see all these people just doing not even doing like anything for profit. They're just kind of doing tribute stuff, and all of it gets quashed as if it's like, oh, you're stealing our content. This is messed up. We got off topic hard.
I don't know. I think we still were within the realms of it, butt betters. A lot of fan theories can be seen as, butt betters.
Yeah.
Well, except for, the sexy ones. Those are just kind of weird. People should really, get away from those. Fan fiction.
Yeah, right. Ooh, I got red mage barding from my chocobo.
Ew.
Yay. And I got materia that I don't need. Give me better. Nope, you gave me a firework.
I've almost maxed out all the characters in this game.
Which game?
Nobody Saves the World.
I haven't played that one yet.
It's cool. I like it. I'm over here enjoying the heck out of it. I'm actually to the last level of it. I haven't gone into the last dungeon yet. Yeah, I'm at the last dungeon now. And I have a few other things I need to do, but for the most part, I'm done with it. Now I'm working on maxing out all the characters.
Huh. Ooh, Wicked Wind's Whisper. I got a orchestrion roll too. Now, if only I can get the mount. There's a Tyrannosaurus mount you can get. Stupid sparklers. I don't want fireworks. I'm just gonna garbage all of it.
What sort of things do you think you could do to make that game better?
What, Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Well, for one thing, I would make the event rewards a little bit better. I mean, yes, I know you need to create things, but the way they went about it, is they take all the event rewards for a year and then they'll archive it and they'll put it on their real money website. And if you want it, yeah, if you missed out, you have to go pay real money to get it. And I'm like, ugh. Instead of it, like some years you'll just get like a one item or something. Like, had to clear my throat out. Sorry.
Bless you.
For instance, this year they took Hatching Tide and Little Ladies Day, which is like the Easter events, kind of like Easter. Hatching Tide is definitely Easter, and Little Ladies Day is like a March event. And they mashed them together, and yes, they gave you a mount, but they only give you the mount for that reward for that event. And I'm like, really? That's it? Kind of thing? No housing items, no clothing to glam your character with. It was just like, at least in like, I hate to say it, but I'm kind of spoiled from WoW in their events, because at least when the event came back, you could get an updated gear version that was at least relevant to your level. Like, for instance, the Hallow's End or whatever it was called. You can get the Headless Horseman's helmet, and it was like a tanking helmet or a DPS helmet. And it actually had like an emote with it, so you can laugh like the Headless Horseman. And but the event thing was a problem. Another fixer for me was, for a major spoiler, at the end of the story arc for 14, you play through like a Realm Reborn. You play through Heavensward. You stopped Eorzea from being invaded and taken over by the Garlean Empire. In Heavensward, you stopped the Dragonsong War. So you made peace between Dragonkind and like humans and stuff. And in Stormblood, you freed Doma and Alamigo from Garlean rule, and like all that jazz. And then like, I'm not going to get into it right now, but like you have Shadowbringers and Endwalker for the current arc. So you go through all that content, 90 levels of content, and at the very end, you're rewarded with your very own island. And I'm like, yes, this is going to be awesome, because they have an awesome housing setup. And I'm like, oh, you could visit other people's islands and you can see what they did with their island. And it's like, yes. And then when you get it, it's limited in its scope. Like, you have plots on there, but you have prefabbed buildings to stick on there. Like, it's either it's going to be a workshop, or it's like a granary for gathering, or it's like a lighthouse, or like a sauna bath or whatnot, and all other jazz. And you don't even get, if you want to change some aspect, like, for instance, I like one of the pathways, but if I change the pathway for the island, it changes the light posts and a bunch of other stuff. And I'm like, but I like the crystal light posts. But if I want the crystal light posts, I have to keep the stone, the brick pathway. And I'm like, I don't like the brick pathway, though. Whereas, like, with the normal housing motif that they had, almost everything was interchangeable and customizable. Like, you can mix and match, like, the walls of the building to the roof of the building, awnings, stuff like that. And then they had outdoor furnishings that you can decorate your yard with. And the interior was its own area that you could decorate. You can't even decorate the interior of any of the buildings. They tried to fix it a little bit where they allowed you to put outdoor furnishings and your pets on your island in your initial area. But for the most part, it's nowhere near as well as what it could have been if they had just taken their housing template and just given you that. Because it's already aggravating as it is to get housing in this game. Because you need to win bless you. You need to win a lottery. And, like, for instance, let's say right now, my guild, we're working on a mansion. It's like the ultimate culmination for a house is to get the mansion. It's the big place, you know?
Yeah.
Well, there's only like I think it's 4 per ward, and there's 30 wards. So that's what, 120? and then there's like 5 areas where you can go to. So it's like 600 some odd mansions. I'm probably not even right. I could be wrong. Give me a second. I'm actually gonna look this up right fast. How many mansions are in a server on Final Fantasy 14? 576 large plots per server. Or for a game where your the player base is in the millions.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty small.
Yes. So it's like for my guild, yes, you can vote multiple times if you are voting for a guild house. So my guild has enough money to do 6 to 7 votes. Whereas by the time I put my votes in and the 5-day entry period is over, some houses are up in like the 600, 700 range in terms of votes. So 6 votes drops in there. It's droplets in a bucket.
Yeah.
And of course, you have a snowball's chance in hell of winning. It's like, how many times have I been like, oh, it's time for a results period, and it's like, let's see if we won. Cross your fingers, everyone. And I look at it, and we're like off by 1 vote. Yeah. If we had 1 more vote, or if we had voted 1 time earlier, we would have gotten it. And it's just aggravating because the medium is not enough to post everything that's useful for the guild, and I would love to have all the amenities, but you need the mansion for it. And plus, the way I want to build the house up is I need the room and the extra the extra inventory space. And a lot of people, another aggravating thing about it is a lot of people that have the mansions, they like the big thing about housing is glitching it out to make it look better kind of thing, like going against the grain. And the way they glitched it out is they keep complaining that there's not enough room, inventory space for the large plots, for the space, because of the way they're glitching it out with walls and stuff. They end up like not even using all of the space. They end up making the space the size of like a cottage, which is the smallest house. And I'm like, why don't you occupy a cottage where there's like 3 to like 10 times as many houses, like cottages, to a mansion per server? But instead, no, you need to occupy one of those mansions just so you can make your own little house. And it's like, oh, that's just a waste kind of thing. But yeah, I was severely disappointed. I worked super hard to push for that Island Paradise, and I was hyped. I was counting down the days because they had talked about it earlier, and from what I had read and from what I had speculated, it was what I wanted. And then when I finally got into it, I'm like, great, this is just an economy sim. Why give you an economy sim minigame inside of a video game that you spent years playing to unlock it? It's like, at that point, you should have given it to us at a way earlier level than that.
Yeah.
Because that's just kind of like a smack in the face, especially since you already have housing. I was kind of hoping it would be like the way World of Warcraft tried to counter Final Fantasy XIV's housing, and it would have been like, oh, well, here's a garrison kind of thing. Yes, it is kind of an economy thing. Yes, it's kind of cookie cutter, but you do have a bit of more. I think you had a bit more of a customization with that.
Yeah.
But
you could opt to do different things.
Yeah. And I also thought that, from what I heard, the garrison was not very well received by the WoW player base. And it was kind of like a sore spot. So I was like, well, maybe Square Enix would learn from Blizz and be like, this didn't work out, so let's not make something similar. And they still kind of did make it similar. And they made it way later in the friggin' game. And it's like, oh, come on. You missed the shot. You missed your mark big time on that one. Like, I don't even go to my Island Paradise for the most part. To me, it's an annoying thing because I have to go in there. Yes, I could automate my things, but it costs in-game currency to do that. And in order for you to build up the currency at a decent rate, you need to play the economy correctly. And I don't like sitting there calculating, like, what should I build? What materials do I need to gather? What materials do I need to make my mammoths gather? And it's like, what crops do I need to grow? And then I gotta, like, so I don't like wasting currency. So I'll go do that stuff myself. So that means I got 20 animals I gotta go and tend to in the morning. I got 5 rows of crops that I gotta tend to in the morning. It's like I gotta every morning I gotta go over to talk to my mammoth to make sure that like I have the expedition set out so that they can gather materials in the right spots, and I gotta collect all that stuff, and then I gotta set my economy so like I have to set the mammoths to build certain things. And I gotta be careful of like running out of materials, or I gotta make sure that the demand is correct, that the supply is correct to maximize. And literally all it is, I've bought everything. I bought all the mounts. I bought all the pets. I bought all the. I got all the mounts. I got all the pets. I got like the accessories and everything. Literally the only thing I'm just saving up currency for is for dye. Just armor and weapon dye. That's all I'm holding on to. It's just like that bit of content. A lot of people are like, it's a slow burn. It's worth it. It's worth it. And I'm like, I burned through that quickly, and I'm already done. Like they another thing that kind of gripes on me, if they get even a little bit of a hint that something's not liked by the player base, they abandon it. So like. Yeah, so like for they've already abandoned the Island Paradise. They said there's after the last content patch, from what I heard, there's not going to be any more. There's not going to be any more like content for the Island Paradise. It's done. Literally, it's just turns into a place where you can buy dye and like some other itty bitty stuffs. But for the most part, it's done. And then they're doing a new thing where it's like, I heard something about like space exploration. So you get to go to other planets and you do stuff there. And I'm like, that sounds interesting. I hope you improved upon your thing so that you don't end up having the same problems that you had with Paradise. But yeah, it's just like, I wanted to be something that I could do, but it ended up just being a chore, something that took up more of my morning. So I'm like, because like my routine is, okay, I got to hop on, I got to refresh the guild buffs, I got to run to the guild house and make sure that the crops aren't dying, I got to make sure the chocobo stable is clean so that whenever anyone wants to get XP for their chocobo, they're maxing that out. I got to go check our fleet to make sure our fleet is up to date. I have to make sure they're repaired. I got to make sure that they're out on their expeditions and they're not wasting time sitting in a dock. I got to check to make sure all the buff foods are still usable. Like they're not empty. And if they're empty, I got to reset those. I got to craft another set and place that into the house. And then it's like I got to go to my squadron, which is defunct now too. Like apparently people didn't like the squadrons, but like I still use it to get some base materials. So I gotta figure out what they brought back in. Then I gotta figure out which one to send them on, and because it's an 18-hour window, so it's like I send them on that, and then it's make sure to check my own house, because if you don't log into your house on a regular basis, like I think it's like a 30-day basis, it auto demos and you lose your house. So it's like I gotta go to my own personal place and deal with that. And then it's like I gotta check my retainers, so I gotta see what they brought in, see what they sold, pull all the money out that they made, and then like pull the items out, resend them out, and then like it becomes a tedious thing. And then it's like, okay, well by that time it's like, I really don't want to play right now. It's like I just did all my chores in the game, and it's just like, what do I want to do? And I'm like, I just want to go play Minecraft. Which is basically my mindset for the last like few weeks. It's just like I feel like just building stuff, so I'll pop on here on the Final Fantasy 14 and do my regular things. Like right now I'm going to my summoning bell because a while ago my retainers completed their mission, so I'm gonna be like pulling this stuff out and resending them out. Or like I'll be at a point where it's like, oh no, I ran out of a material, so I got to go and grind that, and I'm like, great, yay, there's where my time's getting used up, farming. It just gets a little salty because it's like it's the MMO problem where like they want to keep you with your subs, so they make you resource manage, and it's just like, I wish they hadn't have done it with that actual item. Or wait, with the actual area with the paradise. It's like, yeah, you could have kept the economy thing, but at the same time, why didn't you just use the housing template, man? The housing template would have been perfectly fine in that. Just a little bit of tweaks here and there, and you would have been awesome sauce. You would have had everyone happy. There wouldn't be any fighting over the housing anymore. So, yeah. That's a sore spot for me, as you can tell.
Yeah. But I can definitely understand that.
What did you say?
I can definitely understand that. It's like, I didn't want to play a game to become my new job.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's just like, if I wanted to do an economy thing, I could go like, what was it, Animal Crossing?
Mm-hmm.
People could play Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is not even my favorite genre. Like, I tried getting into it, but no, I can't do it. Like, even with the New Horizons one that came out for the Switch, it's like, ooh, yeah, you get an island, but at the same time, I'm like, ooh. Which is the exact same reaction I had when I finally got to my paradise. Like, yeah, you got some glamour, yeah, you got mounts and pets and fashion accessories, stuff like that. But in the end, after you buy all that stuff, the island just kind of becomes useless. It just becomes content you don't end up playing.
Right.
It's just there. And they have a habit. They have a nasty habit of when that happens, and they'll just drop it and they move on to the next thing. So like, for housing for your guild, like I said, with your fleet, it started off with airships, and you can have up to 4 airships. And there is even, if I remember correctly, there's a zone that you can quote unquote discover for your guild, and you can go in as a guild and collect materials and stuff. And I haven't been able to do it because, of course, I don't have a lot of people in my guild. But at the same time, it's defunct. It's defunct content because they saw that people weren't a fan of it, so they don't update it. So it's like outdated materials, and I'm like, great, that's stuff I would have loved to have enjoyed with other people and do, but there's no real worth to it for the effort you got to put into it. Right. And then so they changed it up, and now you have submarines as well. So you can have 4 submarines and 4 airships, but you can only have 4 vessels out on patrol at a time. So if you want to maximize your potential, because they're still updating the subs, you want to have just the subs running out, which is what I'm doing, pulling in money and materials for the guild. And I'm like, I wish I could do the event, but I don't have the slots. And the squadron was nice. I love the squadron because you can take your squadron at, like, so my idea was they to try and stop the bottlenecking some players have in the game, because you can't really just skip through the game. You can kind of buy like level skips, but you waste out on the game in itself, because the game is mainly about the story. Yeah, you want to play through the story and understand like it. So if you buy a level skip, you miss that chunk of story and you get lost. And then eventually you're just like, well, I'm just going to buy another level skip, and I'm just going to get to the end. But I think they're ending that with Dawn Trail, so I don't think you can level skip past 90 or 80 or something like that. I don't know exactly. But the way they could have integrated it, they made a trust system. So instead of having to wait for players to queue up for that dungeon you need to clear to get through your story, you can pick your role, and then you can pick NPCs to join you in that dungeon that will fill the roles that you're missing. And some of them are like multi roles, so you can keep them no matter what, and it doesn't change like the makeup. They just fill the role that's empty. But it's like kind of cool that they have that, So like some of the like named players like Rahatia or like Ishtola can join you on your team. And I'm like, I like that too, but you could have integrated your barrack squadron into this. And they done that a little bit, but it's like very limited, and it's only, I think, for the Realm Reborn dungeons and maybe a few of the Heavensward dungeons. But that's where they petered off with the Grand Companies and the squadrons, is around Heavensward area. They're like, oh, we don't want to support this side thing anymore. So they just kind of let it go, and they'll like occasionally add some content in there, like stuff you can buy, just to make the currency relevant. But for the most part, it's just dungeon, and it's just like, it's like wasted potential. Like you can't even get to. They have a bunch of ranks that are still unattainable, because if you look at your list for your rankings, I think there's like 5 or 6 ranks above the max rank you can currently get that are permanently grayed out, because they wanted to implement that content, but then they were like, oh, well, no one's really pushing for it, so we're just going to put our energies elsewhere.
Heaven forbid even, grow to actually enjoy something.
You said what?
Heaven forbid anyone actually grow to try to enjoy something.
Yeah. It's just like, I think, actually, I'm going to teleport back to town.
Okay.
I'm going to teleport back to town. I'm going to look up the actual Grand Company, because my Grand Company is right next to the plaza. I'm a twin adder.
Okay.
I don't like the color scheme for the twin adder, but it's the only Grand Company I kind of respect. Because like the Immortal Flames, they're too money grubbing, and the Maelstrom is too nautical for my taste, too piratical. Gridania has always been my soft spot in this game. I love my tree hugging ways. But as soon as okay, where's is it this guy? No, that's about free companies. This guy. Nope. Is it this guy? No. Is it the officer at arms? No, that's company crest. Basically somewhere around here is, you can see where your rank is. Oh, here it is, right here. So I am first Serpent Lieutenant. I've gone up from Serpent Private 3rd class all the way up to first Serpent Lieutenant. And then there's only one more, which is Serpent Captain. So after that, you have Second Serpent Commander, First Serpent Commander, High Serpent Commander, Rear Serpent Marshal, Vice Serpent Marshal, Grand Serpent Marshal, and Serpent Champion that you cannot get. It's kind of the same thing with the other ones, as you can see. Instead of it being Serpent, it would be Storm or Flame. And you cannot go higher than Captain, because they decided not to continue with that content. So that's 8 ranks that you cannot attain, as far as I know. And they have it implemented in the game. It's just something you cannot get to. And I'm like, why? Ooh, someone has a nice little staff. I think we've gone over time, though.
Yeah.
This turned into a rant.
A discussion.
Yeah. You gotta admit, you gotta admit it was a little ranty.
Yeah, but it's not.
I got a little angry. I'm very patriotic about my games.
Excuse me. All right, so I guess we can go ahead and wrap this up. I just want to say thank you all so much for joining us. If you want to see more from us, of course, you can check out Bubba Ninja at the Soapbox Dojo, and check out me. Well, here, if you're watching this,
Steps Basic.
Watching this, Steps Basic Gaming, or just Steps Basic, and drop us a follow, drop us a like. Thank you all so much for joining us, and
we'll catch you in the next rant / Babbling Beards podcast.
Good night.
Good nighty. All right, I gotta turn off.